Story 1. This week, I actually get to be home for a few days. I am an over-the-road truck driver who runs a dedicated load every week across the country, nowhere near home. My co-driver, who is also my dad, and I run 40-plus weeks out of the year, usually taking a solid month off when we want to be home or go on vacation out of the country. Any other time, it's just a day or two here and there when we happen to be in town. This time, we got to go home for a solid week. You know what that means? Home-cooked meals. I love to cook, and to do so, I needed fresh groceries. I made the mistake of going to Walmart alone instead of the neighborhood grocery store near my house, and I regret that now. Surprisingly, I actually enjoy Walmart. I am a former employee, an ex-cashier, who, according to my former coworkers, has an unshakable customer service persona that couldn't be wavered by 2 years of retail challenges. I actually rather like the job, being the people pleaser that I am, and I had quite a number of regulars and employees that I still like to chat with when I'm out shopping. This day, I'd finished catching up and had moved deeply into my hunt for the ingredients I needed for a new recipe I was eager to try. I was having trouble finding a certain spice among the variety before me when it happened, the classic throat clearing of a difficult customer. Full disclosure, I have no idea how long the woman I looked up to find glaring at me had been trying to get my attention. I had on my Blooperot headset that I usually wear when driving, and was ironically listening to scary Walmart stories by a YouTuber, while my eyes scanned the shelves and checked the recipe list on my phone. Needless to say, I hadn't been looking for human interaction at that moment. But as usual, my knee-jerk customer service persona, which is just me giving a polite smile and friendly eyes, kicked in, and I shifted my cart away from the shelves while also muting my phone. I'm sorry if I'm difficult customer. You shouldn't ignore a customer like that. It's so unprofessional. Honestly, why do they appoint barely teenagers to management? Difficult customer scolded me a bit more, ranting about management meaning experience, but I only paid attention to the first thing she said to me. My mind wandered, looking from her to down at myself. To her credit, I was dressed nicely, but not exactly what I call professional, with pastel pink capris, a flouncy olive green blouse, and shiny metallic bronze flats. What can I say? I like dressing nicely and colorfully when I'm not at risk of getting diesel on my clothes. Difficult customer was a middle-aged local classic pain whose sense of fashion often hurt my eyes. This one looked like she just rolled out of the trailer park wearing a camo hoodie with pink, black workout pants that probably had never seen the inside of a gym, lime green running shoes, and bottle blonde hair done up in a ponytail pulled through the back of a very loved baseball cap. To complete the look, she had a huge Coach purse sitting in her buggy beside her, a bag even I know cost more than her entire outfit times 3. Yeah, typical difficult customer for where I'm from. Listen, I don't work here. If you need help with something, though, all you need to do is press that button, and it will call someone for you. I gestured to the "Need Help" call button located on a post about 2 paces behind me up the aisle. Usually, I wouldn't mind helping someone who couldn't find something. I had former customers ask for my help all the time, and if I wasn't busy and they were nice or just elderly, I was a big hit with the elderly because I'm a sucker for little old ladies, I would assist. So far, difficult customer wasn't any of those things, and she had a perfume on that was making my nose itch, so I was hoping to shoo her away. No such luck. Difficult customer scowled at my suggestion. Difficult customer, why are you lying? You work here. You've checked me out numerous times, and I don't appreciate being lied to. The nerve. To be honest, I felt a mixture of confused resignation and completely dropped my smile and sighed. I'm only as nice as I want to be. In truth, I have a resting, unpleasant face that makes me very unapproachable, according to my best friends. Listen, I don't work here anymore, and I'm in the middle of getting my own groceries, so let's just not. Turning back to the shelf of spices, I checked my phone again before glancing over the selection and finally finding what I needed. Just as I moved to put it in my buggy and move along with my day, I got a sharp, nasty pain in the side of my head. I yelped, probably louder than necessary, but I was so caught off guard by the pain that I didn't care. Plus, I am very tender-headed. Apparently, difficult customer was not happy with me and grabbed hold of my headset and yanked it off my head. Unfortunately for me, I have very thick, very wavy hair that for some reason other people envy. Not me, though, and especially not when the headrest of my headset tangled in my hair from the way she tried to snatch it off, and instead, she ended up yanking and pulling out more than a few strands of my hair. Even with such a yank, she didn't manage to free it from my hair and just ended up dropping it, causing the headset to tangle further in my hair and causing gravity to yank my hair mercilessly again. Most people would have stopped and apologized after realizing what they'd done. Not difficult customer, though. Difficult customer, don't you dare walk away from me. How dare you speak to me that way? I don't care if you're management now or what. You still work at Walmart. You're still not as important as me. Her last comment made me pause in the midst of trying to free my hair from my headset, eyes watering, scalp throbbing. I've always hated how people look down on people working at Walmart. The majority of the cashiers and floor associates that I knew at this store were either students or retired professionals like teachers, nurses, and office workers. Most of our older staff were just part-timers to have something to do. I was upset. I don't work here. Difficult customer, not this again. I told you. I don't work here. I don't work here. I don't work here. I don't work here. I just kept repeating myself, getting louder and louder until I was practically screaming at her, making her back away from me. Something I had learned early on as a child was that I was the last kind of person people expected to hear yell. I don't know if it's the way I look or just a vibe I give off. I don't know, but either way, I've learned to use it to my advantage to get people to back off. But the screaming also started to draw attention to us as people started coming into the aisle to see what was happening. Among the people included a Walmart employee I was familiar with, even though she started after I left, and my former manager. By the time they showed up, I had finished screaming and was now just glaring at the shell-shocked and probably embarrassed difficult customer, who was red in the face. Walmart employee, what's going on here? Is someone hurt? Difficult customer points a finger at me first as I'm catching my breath and have started fiddling with my hair again, trying to get it untangled. Difficult customer, this girl went crazy when I tried to ask her where something is, and started screaming in my face and even swung at me. She needs to go to jail or at least be fired. By the end of her speech, big crocodile tears were streaming down her face, and one of the random customers who had come to watch was patting her shoulder and trying to console her. Walmart employee and former manager turned to me just as I finally got my headset free with a good clump of hair still wrapped around the headrest and looked up, meeting their gazes. Former manager, are you all right? What happened? Why were you screaming? What's with all the hair? Former manager, bless her, didn't even wait for my response. I really wasn't in the state of mind to give one, as I tend to go mute when I get very upset, as she looked from my distraught face to my hands, still holding the headset and mess of hair hanging limply from it before turning back to difficult customer, who was quietly regaling some of the crowd with just how horrific I had been. Former manager, excuse me, but can you tell me what happened again, and also perhaps tell me why is holding a chunk of her hair? Difficult customer, what about her hair? I told you, she attacked me. I'm the victim here. Are you believing her over me because she is your employee? Walmart employee, that still doesn't answer her question. Did you pull out Op's hair? What kind of person does that? The crowd begins to murmur, and difficult customer obviously realizes she's losing popular opinion. In the meantime, I'm starting to calm down and rub at my scalp, trying to dissipate the pain. Luckily, no blood. Difficult customer, I was just asking her a question, and she ignored me. I pulled off her headphones to get her to listen to me. It's not my fault she doesn't brush her hair. Walmart employee, that's assault. Why would you ever put your hands on someone? And now you're telling everyone that she attacked you. What's the matter with you? Former manager, I think it's time we called for the sheriff's department. Difficult customer's eyes widened as she seemed to come to the realization that she might have messed with the wrong person. But as I've said before, I can be nice when I want to. Me, I'm fine. Just make her leave me alone. I don't want to spend one of my precious nights at home with a police officer unless he's buying me dinner. This made the crowd laugh. Former manager, are you sure? Me, no, but I have cold things to get home, a dinner to cook, and my dad's probably wondering what's taking so long. To that, former manager nodded and forced difficult customer to follow her, while the crowd quickly dispersed and went back to their own shopping. Walmart employee stayed with me, and we chatted while I got the last few things I needed and went to checkout. Former manager came up to me after I finished paying and told me she'd had the woman banned from this store. To be honest, that really stinks for her because this is the only Walmart in this county, and the closest Walmart I know of is over a 40-minute drive from where I live. Apparently, though, I wasn't the first person she had harassed here, although all the others had been actual employees, and the security feed that she reviewed clearly showed the woman trying to snatch off my headset. Former manager tells me that if it had been her, she would have shocked the woman in the mouth, which is really surprising because former manager was a former elementary school teacher who taught for close to 40 years before retiring and taking up the management position to stay active and supplement her income. Former manager has the patience of a saint, but says she wouldn't have hesitated to give difficult customer a piece of her mind after I explained to her what difficult customer had said to me. We chatted some more, laughed a bit, and then I went home. I'm sorry it was so long, but I just had to get it out of my system in order to sleep tonight. I knew there were irate people in this world, but I never thought I'd meet such a self-entitled difficult customer in real life. Update. I'll take it back. I should have had her arrested the first time around. This woman has made my nice peaceful week at home a nightmare. Yes, I ran into difficult customer again today, but this time at Lowe's. So I decided to run another errand while I was home for the week. This time it was to Lowe's to pick up some mulch for Awesome Dad's newly built raised flower beds and a few odds and ends like metal piping, spray paint, and screws for a home project I decided to start. Awesome Dad is a few aisles over from me picking up the spray paint while I was looking at screws and chatting with Lowe's employee for a few minutes about my cat. I own a Sphinx cat, a hairless cat named Pan, who will go with me anywhere if I let him. Since Lowe's is pet-friendly, he usually tags along with me every trip and sits in the child's seat without complaint the whole time. All of the staff here adore him and are constantly stopping me for a visit and a chat, Lowe's employee being the most often to visit because her section is right next to the main entrance. After Lowe's employee leaves to check her section, but not before promising to bring back some cat treats for Pan, I turn my attention back to the screws. I kid you not, mere seconds after Lowe's employee leaves, I hear someone growl out, "You?" I turned around wide-eyed to find difficult customer standing there behind her cart glaring at me. Let me note before this exchange that I am wearing jean shorts, a red blouse with a bandana print, flip-flops, and my hair pulled up with a scrunchie. I was the definition of non-professional attire, and I certainly don't look like a Lowe's associate. Difficult customer. So, this is where you work. Me sorry? Difficult customer. Oh, you will be sorry. Where is your manager? I demand you get him for me now. I want you fired after what you did to me the other day. I'll admit I wasn't on my best game at the moment. It had been a long day. Awesome Dad and I had spent most of it out in the yard checking on the progress of the lawn. We had laid grass seed before we went back to work at the end of May, and also shoving soil into the raised flower beds. I was sun-tired, and this woman had enough malice to knock the wind out of your sails. Me, I don't work here either, lady. Difficult customer. Liar, I saw you talking with your coworker. No one talks that much with staff unless you're an employee. Now get me your manager. Now. Her comment really irritated me. By her logic, I should also work at the bank, the water company, the electric company, the Dollar General, Witt's Barbecue, the Pilot, and pretty much everywhere else that I run errands in town. Especially the places I take Pan. He's such a well-behaved baby and an icebreaker for people to approach me and strike up conversation. Plus, I really do enjoy talking with people. But this woman acted like anyone working or making a living was beneath her. It disgusted me. Me, are you deaf? I don't work here, and Lowe's employee and I were just talking about my baby here. Difficult customer, baby. Confused, difficult customer peeks around me at Pan, sitting there doing his best yoga pose with back leg thrown high in the air, while he cleaned his leg. Difficult customer shrieks, making me step back into the shelves because, goodness, I was not expecting that. Meanwhile, Pan doesn't even acknowledge her. He's too busy cleaning and used to loud noises from living on a truck. Difficult customer, what is that hideous creature? Me, whoa, hang on, wait am I? Difficult customer, how dare you bring that disgusting thing in a store? It's a naked rat. Me, it's my cat, you nincompoop. I actually think the woman was getting ready to throw something at me and/or Pan if Lowe's employee didn't appear coming up the aisle followed by Awesome Dad. Lowe's employee, ma'am, would you please calm down? What's going on? Difficult customer, this girl brought a disgusting creature into this store. Get me a manager. I want her fired and banned. Lowe's employee, disgusting. Awesome Dad, fired? Lowe's employee, ma'am, this is a pet-friendly store, and Pan is a welcome guest. He may be unusual looking, but he is a very good fur baby. Difficult customer, that thing is an abomination. What if children saw it? While Lowe's employee was defending my little Pan's honor, Awesome Dad nudged me to get my attention. Awesome Dad, what the heck is going on with this woman? Me, remember that difficult woman I told you about that thought I still worked at Walmart? Awesome Dad, the one that pulled out your hair when she tried to snatch off your headset. Me, aha. And that is when Awesome Dad's eyes went from mildly annoyed to fully upset. I wish there was an analogy for dads like there is for moms. You know, Tiger Mom or Mama Bear. Awesome Dad really deserves one, especially when he's upset on my behalf. Awesome Dad has a big heart and is a surrogate dad to any and all who need one. But biologically, I am his only child. Here's the rewritten content with grammatical and punctuation errors fixed, proper paragraph separation, expletives removed, acronyms expanded, and code words used for illegal substances. Awesome Dad tells Lowe's employee to get her manager. He steps forward, calling for difficult customer's attention, who is still ranting about Pan, another bad move on her part, because my dad refers to him as his grandbaby. Awesome Dad, I am original poster's boss. What exactly did she do to you? Difficult customer gets this smug grin on her face for a minute as she looks from Lowe's employee to me and then back to Awesome Dad. It's then that her face twists into this stricken expression as she recounts to Awesome Dad how I harassed her in Walmart a couple of days ago and got her thrown out of the store because I was friends with management, and how I had spotted her today and started threatening her and taunting her and yelling at her to get out of the store. This woman had a screw loose. I managed to mumble to Lowe's employee to go fetch the manager towards the beginning of her story, and Lowe's employee scurried off, coming back fairly quickly with her manager in tow just as difficult customer was demanding Awesome Dad kick me out and how she couldn't believe employees acted like this and brought ugly animals to their place of work. Lowe's manager stepped up looking around at our little group, slightly confused. Apparently, Lowe's employee had only told him a customer was harassing another customer and to hurry. Lowe's manager, I'm the shift manager. What seems to be the problem here? Awesome Dad, yeah, sorry to bother you, but this woman came up and started screaming at my daughter. She assaulted her at the Walmart on Friday and got banned from the store. Now she seems to think she can get my daughter banned from here in return, so she's making wild accusations. Difficult customer's jaw drops at my Awesome Dad's calm, albeit stern explanation as she looks between me and him. I don't know how she didn't realize he was my dad. I bear a striking resemblance to him, although most people say we look the most alike when we smile, and we weren't smiling right now. Difficult customer, your daughter? I thought you said you were her manager. Awesome Dad. No, I said I was her boss, which I am. She does not work here or at Walmart. Difficult customer, you. Difficult customer made a strangled sound in her throat. Her face turned almost purple in shade. Whatever she wanted to say, I guess words couldn't convey, because suddenly she launched herself at us, arms raised, fingers curled like claws ready to scratch our eyes out. Awesome Dad was too quick for her, though, as he shoved me out of the way and sidestepped her, causing difficult customer to run full force into the shelf behind us. She's lucky the lower drawers kept her from impaling herself in the eye with the hanging racks. Judging by her screams, though, I'm pretty sure she scratched herself badly on her arms as she fell back onto the floor none too gently. Difficult customer began shouting assault and for help and, of course, for the police. She got her wish. Lowe's manager radioed for security, and in less than a minute, 2 guys were hauling a screeching and cursing difficult customer up and marching her towards the front of the store. The police were called, and what should have been a 30-minute shopping trip turned into an hour-and-a-half-long ordeal of speaking with multiple managers, giving our statements to the police, watching difficult customer lose it on the police and have to be subdued in order to be handcuffed, and agreeing that this time, yes, I wanted to press charges. They took security tapes, and I gave them the name of my former manager from Walmart to contact, confirming the earlier incident as well as see about getting their security tapes as well. We then finally got to pay for our stuff, Lowe's manager insisting on giving us 10% off our final purchase price for all the trouble. Plus, he knew from working with us in the past just how much we'd spent at his store in the last year while we've been landscaping Awesome Dad's new property. That made Awesome Dad very happy, and he spent the last couple of hours calling up his buddies and telling them about the troublemaker at Lowe's and how he got a discount. He's a simple person to please. I wish he wouldn't have told his wife, though, because she got very upset and worried about us. It's her normal state and demanded for us to leave the rest of the yard work and my project until tomorrow and to just relax for the rest of the night. We obliged her, and I'm taking part of my resting time to write this update. I'm so shocked by this woman. I have never been spoken to by a stranger like this outside of my stint doing retail. Is this just how some people are? God, I hope she gets help. She won't be finding it at Lowe's, though, because we were assured that difficult customer was banned from there as well. And as a side note, Lowe's is also the only home improvement store in our county. The next available one is a Home Depot about a 30-minute drive up the interstate. It's unfortunate for her. Update. So, hello again to everyone. I know all of you have been waiting on some sort of update as to what happened to the woman after she was arrested. The quick and simple version of it is, she's in the county jail. I was contacted a few weeks ago and was informed that she pleaded guilty on all charges as part of a plea deal. You see, at the time of her arrest, and yes, on top of her charges for harassing and assaulting me, she was also charged with resisting arrest and assault of an officer because apparently she spit in his face. She was also carrying a restricted substance, they didn't say what exactly, and I didn't think to ask, and apparently, she had enough of it that the charge was elevated to possession with intent to distribute. I'm assuming the deal was about getting her supplier, but they didn't give me any details about it because it was still an ongoing case, so don't quote me on that. Story 2. In 1995 to 1996, I was a fine and applied arts major in college. Essentially, I was a guy who loved to paint. During this time, I took a job at a major retail arts and crafts chain. We had a great team managing every department. I worked 20-30 hours per week, primarily for the discounts I received on art supplies. In fact, when old oil paints expired, I would receive both the markdown price and the employee discount. Life was great. The pay was good, and everyone got along. I had worked there for about 9 months, and everything seemed to be going well, until they hired a new assistant store manager. Her name was quite unique. This will be relevant for later background checks, and once she was hired, she decided to make changes around the store. I am someone who believes in fairness and equal treatment for all people, regardless of their background or preferences. However, she didn't see things the same way. She was a very aggressive individual in her approach, particularly regarding her identity. Initially, we got along well. She even asked me what I thought about her lifestyle, and my response was the same as it is today. Everyone deserves equal treatment and opportunities. I don't care about personal matters, I remain neutral. But things changed when she started firing people and hiring her friends to replace them. She had a friend who wanted a job in the framing department, so she went out of her way to fire the current employee. It became clear she was targeting people to get her friends into the store. She even fired a 6'3" employee from the floral department, a man who happened to be gay, just so her friend could take his position. Her behavior was increasingly hostile, and she carried a chip on her shoulder. The situation escalated when she made false accusations against the store manager and another assistant manager, accusing them of harassment based on her gender preferences. She even got her friends to back up her claims. I knew that these accusations were unfounded, as one of the managers was a good friend of mine. It was only a matter of time before she turned her sights on me, and sure enough, the day came when I was also targeted. However, what she didn't realize was that I had been keeping an eye on things for a while. She and her group had become too comfortable in their positions. After work, they liked to visit a local karaoke bar to sing. What she didn't realize was that I knew they had a habit of going behind the bar to smoke marijuana between their sets. So, I simply called the authorities and informed them that these individuals were using illegal substances behind the bar. As a result, she and her friends were arrested. According to what I later heard through the grapevine, they were also in possession of other illegal substances when they were caught. Story 3. I live on a cul-de-sac where I rent a back house from my landlords. There's another elderly tenant who lived inside the landlord's house, someone I was very close to, and we'll call him Good Sir. I have neighbors next to me who, for the most part, I got along with before the pandemic. The husband, who I'll call Mr. Chill, was always cool with me. They have 3 cars between them. 2 belong to Mr. Chill and his wife, whom I'll call Mrs. Hypocrite, and the 3rd belongs to their daughter, whom we'll call the Hog. When the pandemic hit, for reasons I couldn't understand, Mr. Chill's family stopped parking their cars in their driveway. Instead, they began parking all of them on the curb in front of their house, and the Hog started taking the spot I usually parked in more often than her parents did. After a few months of this, I finally saw the Hog outside and asked her if she wouldn't mind sharing the spot I used to park in, explaining that I was exhausted from my job and it would help me out. She just gave me an annoyed look and said, "I use it." Realizing this conversation was going nowhere, I just said, "Never mind," and went inside. Not even 5 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. It was Good Sir, letting me know that the neighbors wanted to talk to me. Mrs. Hypocrite was standing there, looking upset, and asked me what the problem was. I explained to her what I had said to the Hog. She apologized for coming off so angry and said, "Street parking is first come, first serve. We're not parking here to give anyone a hard time." The conversation didn't really go anywhere, but we ended it on a peaceful note. About a week later, I was lucky enough to park in my usual spot, and my girlfriend came over to visit with our child. It was summertime and pretty hot outside. That evening, I got another knock on my door. Good Sir was there again, saying the neighbors wanted to talk. This time, it was Mr. Chill, politely asking if my girlfriend could move her car because there was some space behind her car, but not enough for another car to fit. Before I could even respond, Mrs. Hypocrite came out of nowhere and started shouting, "I'm sick of going back and forth about this. She's Doublo's employee parked, and there's not enough room for another car. I get that she's your girlfriend and she's visiting, but residents should get priority parking. It looks like you're trying to save the spots for yourselves, and I'm not dealing with this anymore. She needs to move her car." I was completely shocked and had a lot I wanted to say, but I stayed quiet and went inside to ask my girlfriend to move. She thought they were being hypocritical, but moved the car anyway, figuring that parking was all they had to feel proud of in their lives. The only reason I gave in was to avoid getting my landlords involved, which might have risked them not renewing my lease. Otherwise, I would have said something. The funny part? While they were mad at my girlfriend for double parking, the hog was notorious for doing the exact same thing without Mrs. Hypocrite ever saying a word to her. Fast forward to last November, when good sir wasn't doing well and went into hospice care. Sadly, he passed away. Before he passed, he gave me his car as a thank you for being like family to him. So now I had 2 cars, 2 spots, and an idea. Enter petty malicious compliance. Mrs. Hypocrite had said that street parking is first come, first serve, and that residents should have priority. Well, then, I decided to follow her rules exactly. I only needed 1 car, but since I was a resident, I decided to park whichever car I wasn't using in the spot I used to park in and swap them out every 2 weeks. My girlfriend took the spot where good sir used to park. Ever since I started doing this, the hog, her boyfriend, and Mrs. Hypocrite have stopped using that spot because one of my 2 cars is always there. As a little bonus, Mrs. Hypocrite has started parking one of their unused cars back in the driveway. So whenever there's a party and the parking fills up, the spot in front of their house is sometimes left open. Since I'm a resident and all the other spots are taken, I park there when needed. Sorry, Mrs. Hypocrite and the hog. Looks like you'll have to park around the block and enjoy a nice walk to your house. I'm just following the parking rules that you so strongly believe in. Rest in peace, good sir. I miss you every day, and I'll always love you like family.